Hi, I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Vinland Saga Season 2, Episode 9. I am so excited and so nervous and scared, and I have no guesses of what's actually going to happen. Last episode was, whew, in terms of Thorfinn and this season. Like, on one hand, like, I just wanted everything to be okay on a farm, and that was all I needed to see for the rest of my Vinland Saga
Just some farming,
career
some
and life
trees.
and experience. But
maybe some romance.
But we have developments in a way that makes me scared for the lives of the people against Thorfinn's fist, but also scared
I'm
for
not
Thorfinn
scared for
and
them.
Einar's life.
Those are the lives I'm scared for. My stomach already hurts. As soon as I said, "Hi, I'm Anna," my stomach hurt. Because I am very terrified. I don't know how we get out of what has been done at the end of last episode with fighting the retainers, the slaves fight, like the fighting, the free men. I don't know how you get out of that without at least some injury.
We're wanting to change. We need to learn new things, one thing at a time, not the same thing over again. Let's see if we got it. You ready?
Yeah.
Sweet.
This is Thorfinn. We're Thorfinn's POV. It's like a dream state.
That was amazing. I couldn't tell. Was Thorfinn's whole ear here? Vinland. Yeah, look, his ear is complete here.
What the voice actor's doing?
Oh. Oh! Jesus. That resolve. Oh, God. Oath.
It's a
Leaf?
nice word.
Wow.
His dad.
Oh my God.
Is it the child Einar again?
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh, and it went back to him as now.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Oh.
whoa. I still had things to tell you. the hands again. Nobody has any enemies. You understand now.
Oh my god.
His father has the same. There never was. It falling to the ground.
Just like at the end of season 1.
Mm-hmm. Brings you right back to what Askeladd said at the end of season 1.
Where are you gonna catch yourself? Oh!
It's like blood. Valhalla.
Jesus.
Wow. They're laughing.
Bjorn?
Bjorn!
Is Askeladd here?
No. Maybe? No.
Yeah,
No.
that's him.
Yeah, but I don't think he's down there. Of course he would just be watching them. The beasts.
Oh my god.
The world of the living.
Oh my god.
It's like brings you back to like Canute's realizations in season 1.
Where all warriors wind up.
There is no end to war. Nobody has any enemies. For better or for worse.
Wow.
Because he was empty, he could escape. You can fill it all up with new things. Has it never, like, really occurred to him? He's never let himself think about it. He stopped fighting. Even if they're hanging off you, keep climbing. That's your battle.
Oh. Oh my god! What a shot!
He's collapsed. Your dad was able to do it. Oh shit. Is it one of their buttons? He really can be reborn with what the masters decided. I mean, if they're not going to be punished. Oh, it's like the ice breaks in the intro.
Okay, that was Vinland Saga, Season 2, Episode 9.
It was an emotional episode of Vinland Saga, but it was like, oh, if I could go back and tell my extremely nauseous self that this was gonna be more of a crier and not a, oh my god, you're gonna be so stomach upset by violence that you're gonna puke.
I think that it's just, it's like an uncomfortable nature that this season is managing to convey, and I think that uncomfortableness being just like touching on something I guess I'm not used to witnessing. Um, I've a lot of people who talk to us about autosave are like, oh yeah, I'm not really into anime, like, I don't watch that kind of stuff, I don't watch anime. And like, or, oh, that's a movie, oh, that sounds cool, wait, it's an anime, like,
Suddenly uninterested.
and I obviously you're allowed to like and dislike and stay away from whatever you choose to do, but what comes with the circles that we're around, in my opinion, is the like complete unawareness that anime in itself is a medium, and it being depicted in such a way and drawn in such a way, and that being the choice of conveying a story has nothing to do with the contents of that story nor the message. And I think that obviously we only live in a very small pocket that is the entire world, but I almost feel bad for people who limit themselves in such a way, because I know people who, personally, who I think would very much benefit from watching a story like Vinland Saga, and I think that it's a message that I've never seen portrayed in such a way and talked about in such a way, and I think that it's for a show that's even titled Vinland Saga, and it being a piece of time in history, the Vinland Saga is in of itself, it's timeless, and I think that that's so funny that it is. I am so impressed, and I'm enjoying so much of it. I feel really privileged to be able to watch the show.
Agreed. Like, they took a time period, a concept of warriors and Vikings that generally people love to see in the media because they're badass, they're hardcore, they're cool. The movies are normally epic. On the open sea. Just normally violent, I would say, also in some of those movies or the media that depicts Vikings. And people love that time period and that idea. And I think that it's so clever to kind of put a deeper story or even a deeper look at that, almost disguised by this general, like, oh yep, we're gonna be following some Vikings fighting in wars and, like, historical stuff and cool badasses that are like one person against an entire army and winning, like,
Yeah.
and they have all of this flashy epic badass stuff, and they're using something that draws people in because people are interested in the idea of Vikings in the time period, and they're able to, with that, draw those people in and then have them stay and witness something that is in fact a look at warrior, the idea of a warrior and what a true warrior is, and look deeper at that idea, and even more so looking deeper at the idea of, if you've done something wrong in the past, can you ever atone for that? Can you ever love yourself? Can you ever forgive yourself? Will others forgive you? Can you be reborn? Can you ever change? Like, these are ideas that cross over across any person's story. It's not just exclusive to Vikings and exclusive to warriors or people that fight or people that are violent or people that are soldiers or Thorfinn. It can go to any single person. This idea of like, are you able to change? What does it take? Are you ever able to forgive yourself for the things that you've done?
I think it's so fascinating. And I'd love to talk about what goes into this specifically for Thorfinn, but the best part of this episode to me, under this umbrella of this term, is take the people you killed with you.
Mm.
You know, climbing back up that mountain and take them with you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
when you forgive something, whether yourself or someone else, that doesn't mean you forget it.
Well, here's the, you get into like the like how seeing red Thorfinn truly was in his journey to get revenge for his father and to be able to surmount whatever obstacles in front of him to get that and to kill Askeladd. Because whereas you have people who aren't empty, you have people who are down there fighting and fighting and
laughing
fighting
while they're
and
doing
laughing while they're doing it. You have all the bodies under you as well as a result of all that fighting. Yet once what was truly the motivation is gone and that hatred for that person is gone, for you to be able to even be empty in general, I think speaks of the nature of Thorfinn as a person and what his character truly has been since birth, and the lack of development of his true character because of what all of the years of fighting was to him, truthfully.
And his age developmentally as well. I think some things you can add into the conversation are trauma and like disassociating, memory loss with like childhood trauma. He, in the developmental age he was in, I never thought that we were gonna get this moment of awareness and actually see a moment of awareness where Thorfinn actually like realizes like that he's killed people.
I think that this is the true fight. This is the true battle. Especially in a world like this. I think that it's a blessing that we weren't punished for what happened. Obviously, like putting right or wrong on the shelf for a second.
Right.
Just in terms of Thorfinn's mission and swearing off violence.
I want him to be able to uphold that.
Yeah, and I think that unfortunately you live in a world, and in that world people know you for that, the past connections that you have that aren't your family. And that scares me going forward for Thorfinn's fight, because when you're in a world full of violence and you're being the person who's standing firm on the belief of not doing anything, most of the time just what awaits is punishment and violence that's being perpetuated onto you.
Think about the death of his father. His father died having made the oath. See, we saw a consequence of having making the oath of going against violence, but of having an earlier past of violence. Therefore, his father had a name. His father was like, his head was hunted for because of the path that he had led beforehand. And even though he was reborn and he now made that oath against violence and being a true warrior, that death of his, while very profound, is exactly the fate that would meet a person that decides that they are not going to fight, that they're not going to be violent, that they have no enemies. And if Thorfinn is ever put in a similar position to his father, he would choose to not fight. And think back to the Snake episode. We get Thorfinn not fighting back, not because he doesn't want to be violent, but because he has no will to live anymore. He sees himself so lowly that it doesn't even bother him. He's not fighting back. But what it would be now is the same as why his father didn't land any actual blows that would hurt anyone when fighting Askeladd's men in the beginning of Vinland Saga. That he didn't want to actually hurt anyone. He was just knocking people out. When he fought Askeladd, it was more of an honor fight. And then in the end, he gets a bunch of arrows put through him.
I wonder what the will of Thorfinn will look like with this prerogative. I don't know what you'd consider the definition of violence, right? Like, is it pacifism to the utmost degree of I won't pull up my hand? I won't dodge your punch? Or is it I'm going to or is it in a similar way of Thor's, I'll dodge your punches and knock you out, but I refuse to kill you?
Right. I think that what we can go with from there is a line that Thor said in this episode, and that is that the knife was for protecting. When Thor's died, he was protecting Thorfinn and the rest of the crew. And going forward, if Thorfinn is to participate in any fights or anything going forward, it would have to be if living by this oath on a defensive front. I don't think that his father wants him to just sit back while people are killing Einar. That's not what his father would want. It's to fight like his father would fight, where, okay, if I need to protect someone, I'm going to stop you with causing the least harm to you I possibly can.
Gotcha.
I think that would I think that would be what it would be going forward, because that is how Thor's did things. Because I don't think the complete pacifism of I'm just gonna sit while you kill someone I care about, that's not really a direction that I think maybe anyone should go in. I think you should protect the people that you love to the best of your ability, and hopefully you can do that without having to kill someone or create a massive bodily harm to them.
Yeah.
Use your words, maybe. Just knock them out.
I'm trying to find, like, in episode, let's see, season 1, episode, 18, in terms of, Canute's character.
Mm-hmm.
And is anyone sane in this world? No one knows how to love. Meaning of life, reason for fighting. He's sick of it. Lost in exchange for wisdom, something that we'll never get back. We'll never attain it,
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of trying to make that in that seek for salvation and that anger that he had said something along the lines of creating our own paradise here, to create a life or a world where where nobody has any enemies, that is outside of your own scope. It might take somebody acting in the way that Thor's did physically to be able to attain that.
And that is why he's still running an army. There's still war to be fought because we're not there yet. Yeah.
I don't know. I've said it a couple times this season, plenty, I'm sure, but in this type of story is one that I kind of hate and dislike, guessing what might happen in harsh terms rather than just speculation, which we've been doing, of ideas. We're not trying to actually, realistically be like, I know this is what gonna do, because there's more depth and nuance to this kind of story that I don't think it benefits from that. I think usually, there are a lot simpler of stories that instead of Thorfinn climbing up that cliff again with all of the people being a weight on his back, it's more of, okay, I'm a changed man now. Take a step forward. It's a step forward without all those people holding on in a lesser story. And because this isn't one of those, I'm just excited to see where it's going and what the story is they're telling me.
I think it's really cool that we're seeing kind of in a way, we're seeing Thorfinn get to a same point or position that we saw Canute get to, of coming to their own subjective ideas of how to lead their lives and what they would be, what they want to protect, what they want to achieve, what they are willing to do, to what they will justify in order to get that. Like Canute, in running his army, he's not, he doesn't want his men to do it for the glory of it. When he saw all that gold and that treasure to convince him to leave, he walked all over it. He is against his men enjoying the usual spoils of war, which was like the girls that they were kidnapping. And it is much more like, the point of us fighting is for paradise, not for you to be able to act however you want to be acting with no consequences.
Yeah.
And now we have Thorfinn get to his own subjective idea, greatly influenced by the two men that greatly influenced him, of how he wants to lead his life and what he views as justifiable aggression, justifiable defense, and protection. And I think that he has yet to answer that exact question for himself, because I don't think because he hasn't been put in a position to test the oath that he's making in this episode.
Look, the more that an individual has to go through before they make a resolution or a rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
An aspiration, a goal, whatever you'd want to say, the more a person goes through to be able to get that, the scarier they become in their will and their determination to keep it.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
They won't be as fickle. They won't be something that can be blown over.
That's completely true.
They have all the people you killed hanging off of them. They have all the things that you went through hanging off of them. And because that, God, it can, I'm nervous even to see where Thorfinn goes from here.
I don't want to see him in a position where, not that the oath is tested, but the parameters of it, I guess. What does he view as justifiable protection or defense? What would he be willing to do that wouldn't feel like it was breaking this oath that he's made?
Yeah.
That's what I don't necessarily want to see tested out of care for the character, but I am curious, because we did get an answer of that for Thor's. We saw what he was willing and to justifiably do.
But you have to like think about it in terms of, okay, what would you do if something was tested like the life of Einar, or what would Einar do to protect that decision Thorfinn's made?
Thank you so much for bringing that up. Because what we get when they're walking away is Thorfinn's explaining this. Love the communication and the friendship of this pair.
It's awesome.
But he's explaining this, and another chef's kiss to communication and friendship. Einar's like, I don't really get it, but dude, I hear you and I support you. And I'm like, this is lovely. Amazing. You're so right to bring up. It's not just about what Thorfinn would do to protect Einar. It's what would Einar do to protect this very strongly made oath. He hears his friend be like, I've killed so many people and I don't want to do it anymore. Mm-hmm. His friend wakes up every night screaming, reaching for this, like, for something.
Yeah.
And is crying. Of course, that's such a great thing to bring up. Like, Einar is the type of personality that is a protector. He gets angry on behalf of others.
God, did you see him fight? He stood up. He was like Captain America times 10. He kept standing up, and he was versus many people, and he, to the point that they just fucking gave up. They were like,
just like, I don't want to deal
so
with this
cool.
anymore.
A couple things that I just really loved of this episode. Oh my God. The scene of Thor's and Thorfinn turning into Thorfinn as a kid.
Oh, switching
looking
with
into
its
Einar as a kid.
Thors,
Thorfinn
like,
adult, Einar adult.
all the switching of who we were seeing and what age they were.
It was phenomenal. It was
amazing.
It was so
emotional.
Good. And then another sequence of him climbing out when all the color left the screen and you could see
red from the nails, but everything else is like a brownish yellow, black and white.
It was absolutely beautiful. It was such good animation
Very
as well.
creative choice there.
Oh my god. And like I think that that's a really awesome choice, right? I mean, that's I don't know what that looks like in a manga, assuming this is a manga, but from, the production side of things, that's connecting with the story and knowing what they're trying to say to the point that you know where to utilize this type of artistic
Right, like
moment.
this is a pinnacle moment of self,
Yeah.
and to decide to show it in a different way artistically to get that point across even stronger. Like this is such a pivotal moment that it deserves its almost its own action sequence.
Yeah. Like Thorfinn punching that guy last episode wasn't the moment that there was like a 360 camera swivel,
Yeah, yeah.
zoom in, crazy, like colors being
It's
pulled out of the
so
scene.
blurry, like
No, fuck
everything's
that.
moving so fast, you get the line art.
This is what was important.
Yeah.
And I'm just really enjoying the show. I don't know
Me
what else to
too.
say other than that.
Well, I'll just go over quickly any little things I have written.
God, I fucking love Askeladd in this story. His character's
he had
so...
really great lines. That's why I had to I was like, there is
Yeah.
more, and specifically lines of his, even if they are hanging, keep climbing. That's your battle.
Become a true warrior.
For better or for worse, you became empty. I really like that phrasing there of like it's almost up to Thorfinn's next actions and how he chooses to live his life that determines whether it was for better or for worse that he became empty.
Yeah.
Does he deserve to be reborn? When he hears the idea of rebirth last episode, he's like, I can be reborn. Like, is that something I deserve? Is that something I'm allowed to have? It takes you into the conversation he has with Einar last episode where he's like, Einar, if you're gonna beat them up, like I deserve to be beaten up. The knife falling.
Oh my god.
Taking you back to season
the
one.
End of season 1.
And it takes you back to the conversation. I think we get what Askeladd says to him last episode. I think we go back to that. We see like a flashback of it. It might have been last episode or the episode before of what he said about what he wishes for Thorfinn in the future. And in that same scene, in that episode in season 1, the knife is falling. We get the knife falling here. And honestly, this episode, I feel like to fully get everything that it was giving out of it, I would need to watch it again.
For me, what I found, it's not even watching it again for me. It's like time it sits with us.
Gotcha.
Because
there's just so much good in it that it was like
it's the themes for me. Like we finish recording the reaction portion of our videos and then go immediately into the discussion. And for the more complex the lesson or the reason is for this story, the harder it is to talk about it coming out of it, because I can confidently say I'm not smart enough to comprehend all the themes that they're conveying within not only it's not only this episode, it's not only this season, it's what the prologue is as well. It's what the entire first season is, and I think that adds to it. I'm not gonna sit here and try to act like I know and understand everything that this story is saying or conveying, but once we leave this room, I'm still thinking about it for the rest of the night. Like it doesn't leave my head.
I think this episode gave us basically it says to us, now you understand even more so why that was called the prologue. If this is the true battle of Thorfinn, if this is his true battle in life, then of course the path that brought him to his true battle would be the prologue.
Can you I in mind about what I said earlier about like the animation, like I have people in mind, but can you imagine what this would be like to somebody who's seen war themselves? I'm
actually really curious. I wonder if I'm sure there are people who've watched the show who have fought in a war before. I would not be surprised.
I would be
But I do
it's
wonder what
something
they
that
think of it.
nobody sitting on the other side of the table who hasn't experienced it could ever fucking
Right.
put a finger on what it is like to experience it. Therefore, I don't know how true to or the relation that it could have or mean to a person
Or how much
watching
more
this.
emotional it might be, how much more authentic
Or
or real
off-putting
or
or
genuine
unsettling
yeah,
or what
uncomfortable, too
all
much resonating, or you
or
can't watch it.
if it's helpful, if it's something that you
Helpful.
haven't seen, acknowledged, or painted in the light that this is,
Like,
and
is it
being able to feel
something?
like I don't know.
Is
I
it
don't want to get
something? Is it something that if you could show it to
I don't
someone
know.
and be like, "This is how I feel," and that you might feel like they might get a better understanding of you, right? Like,
I don't really want to
there's
get into like the like I don't know other things about that, but
Mhm.
I don't know. Vinland Saga, man.
Vinland Saga. I said that a little too happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
All right.
Okay. Real quick. How many episodes do you think are in the season? 25, 24, 25?
This
How
is
many episodes are in
episode 9,
season
right?
1?
There was like 20...
24.
24.
So let's assume that we have 24 again, right?
Okay.
Any like God, what does an interaction between Canute and Thorfinn? What would that look like? Would we get that by the end of season 2? And I think more importantly, do we get Thorfinn going home? Because I think that after this episode, that the idea of him returning home has, granted, it's far from what I understand.
And he's still a slave.
Yeah, I just think it being on the table is
he
something
more in
significant.
the place where he would actually choose, unprompted and or prompted by someone, would he choose now in the place that he's in to do something like that? I think that
I think he needs to see Leaf.
I was always just season 1, I was perpetually like, I don't think Thorfinn's gonna go back. I don't think Thorfinn's gonna go back. For like every time it was brought up to him in season 1, I was very like pessimistic about that. Like, didn't think he was going to, didn't think he would make that choice or that he was ready. And now I'm like, okay, we're getting to a frame of mind where I could see the character. He's now almost freeing himself up, like freeing his mind up to be able to think of what is actually genuinely important to him, and also think and have awareness of his influence and impact on other people. If he's just now hitting an awareness of the fact that he's taken lives, he's probably just now going to realize, oh my God, how did I make my mom and sister feel by disappearing and I haven't gone to visit them?
Yeah.
He's now thinking of himself as actually a part of the world instead of seeing himself so separate from the world.
I agree
and
with
living
that.
in the red. So I think that he's now in a place where we could see conversations like that.
We got to see, just for a second, an image of Thorfinn shortly after we left him in season 1 in shackles during this episode. I thought that was really interesting, and I wonder if they're going to expand on the actual fallout of what happened with Canute. I think if they do, there'd be a good shot that if they ever ran into each other again, that's when we'd get it. But
could be what everything's ramping up for, is for the characters to be ready to be meeting again, for it to be most fulfilling narratively for the characters to cross paths again.
God. All right. That's all I have.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.